There are rules in this job. Strict rules. Rule number 1, you deliver what is written. Rule number 2, if the address doesn't exist, you stamp it return to sender. Rule number 3, you never, ever open the mail. Arthur had followed these rules for 30 years. He was a man of gray colors, gray uniform, gray hair, gray life. He walked the same streets of Chicago, feeling the biting wind of Lake Michigan turn his knuckles raw. He was invisible, just a mechanism that moved paper from point A to point B. But on a Tuesday in November, Arthur held an envelope that would force him to break every single rule. It was small, pale blue, smelling faintly of vanilla and crayons. The handwriting was shaky, large letters written in purple marker. The address didn't say 124 Maple Street. It didn't say Chicago, Illinois. It said, in bold purple ink, asterisk to Daddy. In heaven, asterisk. Arthur stood by the blue mailbox on the corner. The wind howled. He should have tossed it in the undeliverable bin. That was the protocol. That was the job. But Arthur didn't toss it. He looked around. The street was empty. And for the first time in 30 years, Arthur slid the letter into his inner pocket, right next to his beating heart. Why did he keep it? Maybe because Arthur knew something about empty chairs. His wife, Martha, had passed away 4 years ago. Since then, silence was his roommate. He sat in his small kitchen, the letter sitting on the table like a bomb. Ideally, grief is a process. But really, grief is just love with nowhere to go. Arthur realized that whoever wrote this letter had a lot of love, and just like him, they were shouting into the void. He picked up a letter opener. His hands trembled. This was a federal offense, but it was also a human necessity. He sliced the blue paper. Inside, there was a drawing. Stick figures. A tall man with a halo and a little girl holding a balloon. The text read, asterisk, Dear Daddy. Mommy says you're working for the Angels now. Are they nice? Do they let you watch TV? I miss your pancakes. Mommy burns them. I was good at school today. I didn't cry when Tommy pushed me. Can you come home for my birthday? It's on Saturday. Love, Sophie, age 6. Asterisk. Arthur felt a lump in his throat, so hard it hurt. Sophie, age 6. He looked at the return address on the back of the envelope. It was on his route. A small house with peeling paint on 4th Avenue. He knew that house. He had seen the young woman there, looking tired, looking sad. Arthur folded the letter. He couldn't fix the peeling paint. He couldn't bring the dead back to life. But he had a pen, and he had paper. That night, Arthur didn't sleep. He wasted 20 sheets of paper. How do you sound like a dead father? How do you give hope without giving a lie? He decided to focus on the love. He wrote, asterisk, Dear Sophie. The Angels are very nice. The work is busy. I have to paint the sunsets. That's why the sky is pink sometimes. I saw you be brave with Tommy. I was so proud. I can't come home on Saturday because the clouds are very far away, but I will be watching. Happy birthday, my little princess. Love, Daddy. Asterisk. He put it in an official-looking envelope. He didn't use a stamp. The next day, he walked to 4th Avenue. His heart was hammering against his ribs. He waited until the mother left for work and the babysitter was inside. He slipped the letter into the mailbox. He didn't just deliver it. He hid behind the oak tree across the street, waiting. An hour later, the babysitter checked the mail. Arthur saw Sophie running to the door. He saw her open the envelope. Even from 50 yards away, he saw the smile. It was brighter than the sun, reflecting on the snow. Arthur walked away feeling lighter than he had in years. It became a ritual. Every Tuesday, a blue envelope appeared for heaven. Every Wednesday, a reply came from the cloud office. Arthur learned about Sophie's life. She lost a tooth. She got a star in math. She wanted a puppy, but Mom said no money. Arthur felt like a father again. He started buying fancy stationery with gold edges. He started putting stickers in the envelopes. He was no longer the invisible postman. He was a ghostwriter for joy. But lies, even beautiful ones, have a weight. They grow heavy. Christmas was approaching. The requests in the blue envelopes started to change. They weren't just chatting anymore. Asterisk, dear daddy. Mom cries at night. She looks at the bills and cries. Can you ask God to send money? Also, for Christmas, I don't want toys. I just want you. Asterisk. Arthur read this sitting on a park bench. The cold seeped into his bones. He was a postman on a government salary. He wasn't rich, and he certainly wasn't a miracle worker. He had trapped himself. He had built a castle of paper, and the wind was picking up. 2 days before Christmas, catastrophe struck. Sarah, Sophie's mother, was cleaning Sophie's room. She found the shoebox under the bed. She opened it. Dozens of letters. Official-looking stationery. Handwriting that was definitely not a child's imagination. Arthur was doing his route, walking up the path to 4th Avenue, ready to deliver the Christmas letter from heaven. The door flew open. It wasn't Sophie. It was Sarah, and she looked furious. She held the bundle of letters in her hand like a weapon. Is it you? She demanded. Her voice was shaking. Are you the sick freak writing these? Arthur froze. He felt the blood drain from his face. Ma'am, I can explain. Explain? You're stalking my daughter. You are pretending to be my dead husband. Do you have any idea how sick that is? She threw the letters at him. They fluttered in the snow like wounded birds. If you ever come near this house again, I'm calling the police. Stay away from Sophie. Stay away from us. She slammed the door. Arthur stood there, surrounded by the scattered evidence of his kindness, which now looked exactly like a crime. He picked up the letters. He walked away. He felt older than he ever had. Christmas Eve, the worst night to be alone. Arthur sat in his chair. The heating unit hummed. He thought about Sarah's anger. She was right to be protective. He was a stranger. He had crossed the line. But then he thought about Sophie. She would be waiting for a letter tomorrow. A letter that wouldn't come. She would think her father forgot her. She would think the angels were too busy. The silence in Arthur's apartment was deafening. He looked at his savings jar. It wasn't much. Just money he was saving for a vacation he would never take. Rules. Arthur whispered to himself. I followed rules my whole life. And look where it got me. Alone. Arthur stood up. He grabbed his coat. He grabbed the jar. He wasn't going to write a letter this time. Actions speak louder than ink. Christmas morning. 7 a.m. Sarah woke up to a knocking sound. Soft, hesitant knocking. She grabbed a baseball bat. She marched to the door, ready to scream at the postman again. She opened the door. Arthur wasn't there. The street was empty. But on the porch, there was a massive box wrapped in red paper. And an envelope. Sarah picked up the envelope first. It wasn't addressed to Sophie. It was addressed to her. She opened it. Inside was a check. Not a huge amount, but enough to cover the overdue electricity bill and the rent. And a note, written in Arthur's shaky handwriting, not the daddy handwriting. Asterisk, dear Sarah, I am sorry for the intrusion. I lost my wife 4 years ago. Your daughter's letters. They made me feel like I had a family again. I didn't mean to deceive. I just wanted to keep the magic alive for her, and maybe for myself. This is for you. Please don't tell her it's from the postman. Let her believe. Asterisk. Sarah looked at the check. Tears welled up in her eyes. Then Sophie ran downstairs. Mom, did Dad send anything? Sarah looked at the giant box. She looked at the empty street where fresh footprints led away in the snow. She looked at her daughter's hopeful face. Sarah wiped her eyes. She smiled. Yes, baby. He did. He sent the biggest box on the truck. Arthur was walking home. His savings were gone. His hands were cold, but his heart was warm. He heard a car slow down beside him. He flinched. Was she calling the cops? The window rolled down. It was Sarah. Sophie was in the back seat, holding a new dollhouse, beaming. Get in, Sarah said softly. Ma'am, I can't. Get in, Arthur. It's Christmas. You're not eating alone today. Sophie poked her head forward. Are you a friend of my daddy's? Arthur looked at Sarah. Sarah nodded, giving him permission. Arthur smiled, a genuine smile that cracked the gray mask he had worn for years. Yes, Sophie. I'm the one who delivers his mail. Cool. Sophie yelled. Do you want to come play? Arthur got in the car. The camera pulls back, showing the car driving down the snowy street. turning a gray day into something bright. Sometimes you have to break the rules to fix a heart.